My name is Lisa Luxemberg, and I'm a medical social worker at the University of Rochester Medical Center. I've worked there for more than 25 years. At the beginning, I was an OBGYN, and now I'm in developmental pediatrics. I'm here today to review MAID by Stephanie Land. MAID is about Stephanie's life and an unexpected pregnancy that took her in a new life direction. She planned to go to college and become a writer, but instead decided to become a mother. She was 28 years old at the time. Jamie, the father of the baby, and her boyfriend of 4 months didn't agree with her choice to keep the baby. He didn't want to be a father. Stephanie ended up delivering Mia and parenting mostly on her own. Jamie did help out sometimes. She ended up having to live in a homeless shelter, subsidized housing, with a new boyfriend, and other apartments that were in much need of repairs. She learned to live on government assistance programs, a Pell Grant for college, SNAP for food, public assistance, WIC when Mia was under 5, HEAP, Medicaid health insurance, and other child care subsidies. But that didn't cover all of her expenses. She also had to be careful not to make too much money because if her income went too high, even for a month, she would lose some of those subsidies. Stephanie became a maid to support herself since she still had to work, even with a child, while on government subsidies. Stephanie writes about the various people's houses that she cleans for. Some of them she never even met, but others she became intimate with the houses and the tenants. What stood out to me was the way that the people treated the maids. She worked for an agency, and even her boss did not treat her very well. She wasn't paid mileage for canceled appointments, extra time spent on a job, and she couldn't pick her sites or hours that she worked. The agency also took a large percentage of her wages. To me, the titles of the chapters said it all about her clients and the houses she worked in. The porn house, the move-out house, Henry's house, the studio, minimalist, Wendy's house, the plant house, the chef's house, Donna's house, the sad house, Lori's house, and the clown house. Stephanie postponed her college education to raise Mia. She had to use the government subsidies to survive and be creative when times were tough. She was forced to ask family who didn't understand for help and listen to what they had to say about her life choices. She lost some friends along the way as well. The two stories that struck me were, the first one was when her mother and stepfather helped her move from a homeless shelter into subsidized housing. After they were done moving, they went to lunch. Her mother and stepfather, who had flown from Europe to help, then asked for her to pay for her lunch. She didn't even get a choice of what restaurant they went to. I guess it was lost on them that she moved into a subsidized apartment from a homeless shelter on that day. Another story that struck me is when Stephanie and Mia moved out of a boyfriend's home into their own apartment because he did not want them there any longer. She needed a security deposit and first month's rent, even though she was using government assistance to help pay for the apartment. She asked friends to contribute, and she got more money than she thought she would. The boyfriend even agreed to match the funds. It wasn't easy for her to ask for help, but she had no other choice. Hopefully, she learned that she had friends that still cared about her. The government's programs designed to help families are not really structured in a way to help them get off the system. Subsidized housing is not usually in very good neighborhoods, and the apartments often are not in very good shape. One of the subsidized programs is called Section 8, or a housing choice voucher program. These programs help the family pay for 30 to 40% of the housing costs, and it does fluctuate with their insurance. But there's often long wait lists, sometimes lottery systems even to get on these programs. The Rochester Housing Authority locally does have a very good program, but there are still often long wait lists to get onto Section 8 or subsidized housing programs. HEAP also is a program that helps cover gas and electric bills, but only during certain times of the year. And when the funds run out, there's no more help. If you make even $5 over the amount to qualify for any of these programs, you will get cut off, which makes it very hard to get ahead. If you have a child with a disability and get SSI, Social Security income, it counts as income, even though it's really designed to help families have more money to take care of the child with the disabilities. Subsidies also involve a lot of paperwork, proof of income for all the members of the household, birth certificates, Social Security cards, bank statements, and other forms. Imagine trying to gather everything and get it to where it needs to go without reliable transportation or extra funds to make copies of everything. Also, families tend to move around quite frequently, so keeping track of these items can sometimes be a challenge. Health insurance has also been a challenge over the years for many of the families that I work with. Luckily, the Affordable Care Act has made it a little bit easier for families. Having a pre-existing health condition is no longer anything they have to worry about, and having the health marketplace makes it easier to let them know what insurances they could qualify for and possibly give them some choices around what insurance they get. I really enjoyed MAID and thought Stephanie told her story in a way that gave a good picture of the struggles of someone that is trying to raise a child, get a college degree, and has limited supports both emotionally and financially. She also had to listen to all the opinions in her life and the choices that she made for herself and Mia. Her family gave their opinion, as well as Mia's father. Since we're doing this virtually and not able to actually have questions and conversations, I decided to pose 4 questions for people to think about or have small group discussions on their own. The first one is, what were your thoughts about poverty before you read MAID? Do you think about it differently now that you've read the book? Number 2, what do you think are some challenges that Mia might have had? Mia could only stay at the daycare that she was at as long as Stephanie could pay for it. Her mother often was late picking her up because she was stuck at jobs and couldn't get back in time. Mia was also had spent time with her father, who felt very differently and had less financial challenges than her mother. Number 3, can you think of a time when you had to ask for help financially, emotionally, or physically? And how did that make you feel? And the last one is, think about making a life and making a living. Stephanie worked really hard to make a life for herself and Mia. Making a living was a lot more challenging. Thank you.